Baby, it's time for you to move different. It's time for you to move different. There is no way that we are sitting here mad and upset that we are not experiencing the things that we want to experience in this life. But the way we move does not align to that type of lifestyle that you're praying for, that you're hoping for, that you're wishing for. You talking about, oh, I really would love to be this amazing bodybuilder. I don't know, I just had to come up with something. You want to be this amazing bodybuilder, a legend at it, but you're not even going to the gym. You eating cheeseburgers and french fries every day. So explain to me how you talking about you finna be a bodybuilder, you finna do all this dope stuff in the bodybuilding industry, but your everyday daily habits are cheeseburgers and french fries and slumped over the couch, not even looking at a dumbbell. So that's the same with everything in life, when it comes to whatever industry you may want to pursue, or a type of way that you want your body to look, or a mentality that you want to obtain, or just whatever it is. Like, you gotta move different in order to see different in life. You can't say you want to be wealthy, but the way you spend money or the way you even look at money is completely backwards. It's completely opposite against you wanting this desire of wealth. I think that just in a general sense, in order to experience a certain level of freedom or this level of fulfillment in your life with whatever it is that you are seeking in your life to experience, you have to move in alignment with that according to what it is that is asking of you. So getting closer to God is another thing, another example. You can't sit here and say, oh, I'm close to God, or I want to be close to God, I want to be close to God, but you don't crack open your word. You don't go to, you don't get that word in you. Some people may even shame you, oh, well, if you don't go to church, but I think there's a different way to word that. Like, I think that if you neglect the gathering of believers, like if you neglect meeting with your community, that can have an impact. Like, doing the work, you gotta do the work. You can't sit here and say you want to be a rapper, but you don't write and you don't have any music to show for it. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that people really want a certain thing, but they don't want to do the work of the certain thing. And as far as I'm concerned, you could want all your life, but if you don't do the thing to get what it is that you want, you're going to always be in a place of wanting. That's it. And so in order to see different, you got to move different, mama. You can't just be sitting in self-pity, soaking, depressed, sad because this thing that you want is not, but you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work. Then there are these things that we want that we really shouldn't want, right? Like, we want this particular guy that we know is not good for us, but we know the D good. The D, he know how to lay it down, okay? Or, we want to engage in this habit or this vice, but we know it's not good for us. And in order for us to, again, live this lifestyle that we see in our head, we know that these particular things that we desire or that we want, but we know aren't really good for us, they get in the way and become distractions. And so it's even having to change what it is that you want to align with the thing that you ultimately want. Like, in the moment, what you want to align with what you ultimately want. What you ultimately want doesn't necessarily reflect in the emotion of what you need to want in the present moment. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. But like I said before with the working out example, ultimately you want to have a six-pack, a toned body, but in the present, you don't want to work out. You don't want to eat. And I think that is what causes a lot of clashing. It causes a lot of just pain. It causes a lot of dissonance within you and this thing that you want. But I think that we're in a time now where it's like I don't have the energy or the capacity to be back and forth. I don't have the capacity anymore. I've done that, been there, lived it. I'm good. I'm good. I don't have time to be back and forth. I'm one track minded right now. I'm focused on what it is that the Lord has for me. And so that was me having to shift my mindset. I had to literally change the way I looked at things, dealt with things, experienced things, felt things, processed things. And so what I wanted ultimately was to be a strong woman who was confident, secure within herself, had her own mind, was wise beyond her years, and just moved with a grace and a spirit of love and energy about her that was elegant, graceful, and fire and dope. Like, you couldn't even play with her like a boss, okay? But baby, the way in the present moment I was responding and dealing with life was completely opposite of this woman I wanted to be. And so I had to realize, and I went through a situation that just opened my eyes and made me realize, like, gee, you literally respond and react every single time out of your flesh. Every single time out of your flesh. You don't even be realizing it because you've operated like that for so long. You've normalized it for yourself. But then you've come to the end of yourself. You realize, like, whoa, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I was praying for. This is not the life that I was hoping or expecting to be living at this age or at this point in my life. I gotta move different. And so even in that mental shift, I feel like that cures depression, that cures anxiety, because you get to a place where obviously, you know, everybody's different. For me, I had to go through a grieving. I had to go through a grieving, honey, a grieving before I even came to the realization of what it was that I was truly, truly, truly struggling with. I had to go through a grieving, a pain of realizing, like, dang, like, this is what I want, but I'm not getting it. I'm not living it. I'm not experiencing it. So what is the disconnect? What is happening? And so going through my grieving and then having to face some more difficult challenges in my grief, and woke me up and made me realize, like, gee, you respond from your flesh every time. Things don't go your way, things are uncomfortable, you run, you avoid, you self-soothe, cope unhealthily. Like, it's always just this, like, let me coddle my feelings, let me miss my feelings. And it's like, girl, that's why you still where you at. That's why you still where you at. But if you would have handled things from a spiritual mentality, when you handle things from the spiritual principles and just the way God has caused you to handle things, when you move in that way, baby, the bliss, the peace, the joy, the blessing that come out of that is, chef's kiss. It just surpasses beyond any hope or expectation. But that only comes when you decide to make that shift and move different. And this is what people call repentance. Okay? And so I know there are some people that also will be like, okay, well, I know it's a process. Even me, like, it's coming up in me, like, okay, well, I feel like it's hard to just make that hard shift, that hard turn. I have to be processed out of it. And okay, well, then let's go through a process, but let's actually commit to a process. Don't let it be, an excuse to stay down or to stay stuck in a place. If you're really trying to get up out of here, okay, let's baby step our way through. Let's baby step our way through. But the fact that you have the intent to move differently is a first start. It's a first step. And so I know me, again, I just feel like I don't have time to be back and forth. I don't have time to be back and forth with you, with a coworker, with a fake friend, with myself. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. How are we gonna move? Let's go to the word. Let's move. Okay, this is what it says that we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna move that way, and that's it. Keep moving. I gotta move different. You gotta move different in order to see different. You can't be reacting and responding the same way you've always been reacting and responding to things, then get mad when you're not seeing the result that you want to see. Simple as that. Simple as that. So I don't mean, again, I feel like I'm just in a different headspace. I'm just about my God. I'm about my Father's business. I'm about just walking in my light. I'm about just being fully myself, being CHIAMAKA. Like, I feel like I'm kind of coming back to myself of like who I am and what I was put on this earth to do. And so I also know that in coming to that realization of who I'm called to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, I gotta make sure that I continue on that path without allowing distractions to derail me. Because, baby, them things that will come, them distractions, I promise you, they're gonna find a way to seep through. But again, if you want different, you're gonna move different. You're not gonna let that distraction be a truth. You gotta move different in order to see different. What is it that you see that you want? And what are the daily steps and habits that you're taking, them small little steps that you're taking that's building the house of what it is that you want to live in? What house are you finna live in? What house are you building to live in? You building a house of straw and weak materials, of weak choices and weak steps and broken and fleshly decisions? And that's the house you finna live in? Or are we making strong, intentional, godly steps and choices and decisions that is building a beautiful house that we get to live in? Which kind of house you trying to live in? Ooh, that's a word. I'm gonna stop it right here, y'all. Let that bless you. Mwah.